Welcome back. This is Shirley Davis, and I want to welcome all my subscribers back, and welcome to my new viewers for stopping by the channel. This is the channel where we talk about stocks, but we also talk about credit and other wealth strategies. So on my channel, on a daily basis, we talk about stocks, but in this video, we're talking about building the foundation to wealth. One of the foundations to wealth are assets. So we're going to visit investopedia.com. Real quickly, you can see on my page, we talk about assets on this video, retire on assets. We talk about real estate, and we talk about leveraging real estate. And let's see a little bit further back. We also talk about business credit. And I've done a few videos about stock and wealth as well, how to start a business. And we do talk about crypto, Dogecoin, and the like. Okay, so let's visit Investopedia here. It says, what is an asset? An asset is anything of value or resource value that can be converted to cash. It could be an individual, companies, governments own assets. For a company, an asset might generate revenue, or a company might benefit in some way from owning or using the asset. Here's some key takeaways. It says an asset is something containing economic value for now or in the benefit in the future. An asset can also generate cash flows in the future, such as a piece of machinery, a financial security, like a stock or a patent. So when they say a patent, that'll be intellectual property. So there could be something you created, maybe the original iPhone, it was patented by Apple. So you can create a patent too. Also, personal assets include a house, a car, investment, artwork, or home goods. And some other for corporation assets are listed on a balance sheet and netted against liabilities and equity. So those are what assets are. I listed here some key assets, one being crypto, two being stocks, being acres of land or land parcels, and three being real estate in the sense that you have rental properties or Airbnb. So let's go back to Investopedia, because also in order to use these assets wisely, you need financial literacy. So why is financial literacy important? Again, we're on Investopedia. And it says many consumers have little understanding of finances, how credit works, and the potential hit to financial well-being that poor financial decisions can create many, many years. In fact, a lack of financial understanding has been signaled as one of the main reasons why many Americans struggle with saving and investing. Every few years, FINRA, or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, issues a 5-question test as partial to National Financial Capability Study, which measures consumers' knowledge about interest, compounding, inflation, diversification, and bond prices. On its most recent test, only 34% of who took the test got 4 out of 5 questions correct, which suggests that the basic economic and financial principles that underpin those problems are widespread. And some changes in consumer habits and financial products have made it harder for Americans to manage their finances. In the past, most people use cash for daily purchases. Today, credit cards are most frequently used. In 2019, credit use accounted for 23% of payments, up from 21% in 2017. The way we shop has also changed. Online shopping is now the top choice for many, which can make it easy to use and overextend credit, an all too convenient way to accumulate debt. Now, on this channel, we talk about using credit the correct way. We talk about leveraging credit to acquire assets. We don't talk about leveraging credit to acquire homes that we're just going to live in. And we don't talk about leveraging credit to buy expensive vehicles just to drive around in town in. So I've got 2 charts. one being listed with assets. This could be, when I say crypto, this could be Dogecoin, this could be BTC, Bitcoin, it could be Litecoin, any of the various cryptocurrencies. And when I say stocks, this could be any stock. This could be AT&T, Verizon, Tesla, Microsoft, other likes. And when we say acres, acres of land or land parcels, this could be land parcels, could be, your grandparent owned a piece of land next to their house and decided to give it to you once you turned 18. Or it could be, acres of land. This could be land that your grandfather or your grandmother left to you. So that's an asset. And the last one I talk about real estate as an asset would be rental properties. Now, this rental property is a way of generating cash flow. So there's three main things when you talk about a company or you talk about, I guess, a wealthy entity. And the three things you want to talk about is number of assets it has, the type of cash flow it has, and what type of future obligation it has. So if you're talking about a business, a future obligation would be, hey, this is a $10 billion business, but its future obligations is at least $100 million a year. So this is what we're talking about. A wealthy entity has to have real estate, it has to have some type of land, and it has to have some type of stock or crypto to belong to it. Now, the next phase, what we also talked about in this article was financial literacy. So you could have the assets here, the crypto, the stocks, the acres, the Airbnb, condo, or what have you. But if you don't have the financial literacy and the knowledge to go with it, you could create your own problem. So the three things that you must have in order to properly use your financial literacy are discipline, credit, budgeting, knowledge, and financial literacy. Now, I like to go from the bottom because knowledge and financial literacy are the key from the beginning. All these other ones will follow. The budgeting, the credit, and the constant discipline, they will follow. But the foundation is knowledge and financial literacy. So you can inherit some of these stocks and land and real estate, but in order to know how to use these properly, you need to have the knowledge and financial literacy, because you can't overspend in order, and in the end, and still be able to keep your stocks, crypto, and land and your other things going. Because even if you own a rental or an Airbnb, you have to understand how much does it cost me to operate the Airbnb, or how much maintenance cost does it cost me to service the rental property. So this goes back to the article where it says, why is financial literacy so important? And as I said in the article, only 34% of the people who took the test got our 4 out of 5 questions correct. So that's a low score. And that's why here on this channel, we talk about financially literacy so much, because you have to take authority over your finances now, because in the future, in your retirement years, if you don't do the work up front, it's going to be very difficult for you to manage your finances in the future. So it says, meanwhile, credit card companies, banks, and other financial institutions are inundated with consumers with credit opportunities, the ability to apply for credit cards or pay off one card with another. Without the proper knowledge, this is easy to get into financial trouble. So that's what I was talking about, where you can actually lose your cryptocurrency. In a sense, you could be over leveraged. There's people that do that borrow on their Robinhood account to get crypto. And when the cryptocurrency goes down, they lose half of it. So you have to understand how much can you afford to lose and how much you can afford to win. So it may be better just to win 10% a year rather than trying to go for the 100% gain, as long as it preserves itself rather than lose half of it or lose 30% of it. It's better to go with a more conservative type of risk instrument like a stock or even land. Now, the problem with the land and the stock is that for most people, it grows too slow for them. It won't affect their daily life. And some people think, well, if it doesn't help me get a new car next month, it's not important. It is important. Time is more important than anything in your wealth foundation. It's what you do today and the habits you do today that will affect tomorrow. And then sometimes it's the habits your parents did, because if you inherit land or you inherit real estate, could be a condo that you then Airbnb. It could be that, because your parents had good habits, you inherited real estate or acres of land. All right, so it goes on to say financial planning is a long-term, and people cannot depend on a one-time windfall, such as a recent $1,400 stimulus check sent due to American Rescue Plan. Instead, individuals need to shore up their financial knowledge to manage their day-to-day financial lives while also take a longer view for the future. Here's some key takeaways. Trends in the United States show that the financial literacy among individuals is declining. And we mentioned only 34% of respondents could answer those questions. And we'll go on to say, what is financial literacy? Well, we talked about a lot of it, but let's talk about it again. Just to not only talk about the importance, but what is the basic? On this channel, we talk about financial literacy, we talk about credit, we talk about wealth strategies, but basically you have to understand the foundation before you can move on to the real estate, the Airbnb, or even Turo. I hear a lot of people talk about Turo. They're going to buy a BMW and they're going to rent it out, especially in the Atlanta area. It brings cash flow, but you have to pay a price for it up front. So let's talk about what is a financial literacy. Financial literacy is confluence of financial, credit, debt management, knowledge that is necessary to make financial responsible decisions. So we talked about the discipline, choices that are integral to our everyday life. Financial literacy includes understanding how a checking account works and what using a credit card means and how to avoid debt. In sum, financial literacy has a material impact on families as they try to balance the budget. We talked about budgeting, buy a home, and fund their children's future education and ensure income for retirement. So again, we talked about this wealth. We talked about having future value and how much is it going to cost you to live in the future. We mentioned a little bit on operating a company. I talk about personal finances just like a company. How many assets do we have? How many liabilities we have? And those type of things. But it's not easy for everybody because it's not common knowledge. Unfortunately, in the United States of America, if you don't go to Ivy League schools or preparatory type high schools, you're not going to get this type of training or information or education. Okay, so a lack of financial literacy affects people in developed or in advanced economies as well as those in emerging or developing countries. Consumers in advanced economies also fail to demonstrate a strong grasp of financial principles that can help them understand, negotiate financial landscape, and manage financial risks effectively and avoid financial pitfalls. Nations globally, from Korea to Australia to Germany, are faced with populations that do not understand financial basics. So that's what I try to do. I try to level the field. I try to do pictures. I try to do examples. I try to do, different things. I talk about stocks on a daily basis. I talk about credit. I talk about other assets, real estate. I talk about, Airbnbs. So I try to talk about these things because unless you have the conversation, they will stay foreign. They will become, not understood by you. So oftentimes, in order for someone to understand something, it takes several times for them to be inundated with the information. I'll give you a thing that that people use as a way to educate themselves, but is a very poor tool. which is the news on TV. TV is the worst tool you could use to educate yourself. So I just, it gives you flashes. Most of it gives you entertainment and no substance. So here on this channel, we try to give you the basics. We talk about the foundation. And number one, we talk about here on this channel is financial literacy. You can't do the wealth strategies without the financial literacy and the knowledge and expertise. So again, we talked about knowledge, financial literacy, budgeting, credit, and discipline. And when I say discipline, I mean when to use credit and when to use cash, or when to acknowledge something is outside your budget. Sometimes people as consumers don't understand how much car they can actually afford. Unfortunately, because most people's decisions are driven by emotion and not by facts, people go over their budget many times. The car dealers are predatory on the borrower, even if the person gets a 5% or 3% or 0% car loan. Most of the time, the perspective, which the car dealer is selling you a car, is on their side of the benefit line. So it's not in your benefit, it's in their benefit, because in some instances, there's been cases where people have gone to the credit union and gone to the dealership and they've gotten a better deal at their credit union, even though the car dealership had almost the same identical paperwork. There was more fees inside the car dealership paperwork. And then there's also times where people have gone to the car dealership and for whatever reason, the credit union or the bank could not match the interest rate. So it can work both ways, but the knowledge, understanding your purchases from your benefiting perspective matters more than the fact that you got the car that you wanted. It matters the financial future of the day you got it and the future in which you're still paying for it. So this is why we talk about financial literacy, knowledge, credit, and discipline, when to use the credit and when to use the budgeting, those type of things. And next we talk about, when's it time to get an Airbnb, or does it meet your financial goals to get a second home, or what to do with the land. For example, if you own land, and I'm just going to give you a rough estimate. Let's just say you own a couple of acres. It's worth, $20,000. I'm just giving you ballpark figures. You can go to the bank and get what they call an LTV loan, which means loan to value, loan to asset. So that means that if something is worth $30,000, you could get a loan for at least $10,000. You may need to improve the land. You may need to use the land for a business venture. So those type of things. And then the other assets that are popular on Robinhood, we talk about on this channel, Apple and Microsoft, but GameStop is a stock. AMC is a stock. So these are things you can do over the trail of your life's journey, is add to your journey and add to your asset is in your wealth is stocks and crypto. You don't have to buy, $10,000 of stock, in a year. You can buy $10 of stock every month. You can, over your whole life. This is more about your whole life than this is the knowledge that you must have over your whole life, the discipline, the credit, the budgeting, the knowledge, and the financial literacy. But you are going to be challenged over your whole life, whether you're 20, whether you're 30, whether you're 40, whether you're 50, you're going to have to manage all of these either way. So right now we have 20-something-year-olds managing crypto. We have some 20-year-old managing crypto and stocks. And we have some 20-year-olds managing land. But for most cases, people in this age are 20 to 30 years old managing crypto and stocks. Now, if you get into these other ones, land and real estate and Airbnb, I'm not saying that you can't do them in your 20s, but most of the time, some of these are more reserved for your 30s and your 40s. You can do them whenever. It's just that most people lack the knowledge. And so there's no limitation to what you can do, but a lot of people inherit land acres of land or land parcels. And then people usually from that then end up doing a derivative, which is getting the real estate, and they do Airbnbs or other rental properties, that could be apartments or some type of, maybe they inherit a house from their grandmother or grandfather, and now they're renting it out. And a lot of these YouTubers, they won't tell you that. Most of the time, some of the YouTubers, they already have rental property. They already have Airbnb, and some of it's just inherited. So I just like to talk about that. And then lastly, after you have these two main, wealth triangles created, the last thing you need to do is what they call a net worth analysis. Now, I don't hear a lot of YouTubers talk about this, but it's when you do the summation of your total assets, that's cash in the bank, that's stocks and bonds available, that's everything. You add it all up, and then you find how much your total is on your asset side, and then you add up all your liabilities. So your home, your accounts that you're paying on, your notes that you're paying on, your life insurance policy, your credit cards you're paying on, your unpaid taxes, and you find how much they are. So in this case, after you add up the assets and the liabilities, this person is actually negative $900. So you need to be able to do assessment like this on an annual basis so that you know where you stand at financially, how much you owe versus how much you have. So in most cases, more and more young people have more and more liabilities than assets because they go to college, and college causes student loans, and it causes a really unhealthy financial situation. So you got to do analysis on yourself once a year to understand how many assets you own. And like I said, it could be real estate, it could be stocks and bonds, it could be personal property, it could be very expensive artwork, it could be business holdings, it could be a number of things. So that's why we talk about all these on the channel. We talk about building up wealth over time, nothing immediate, but we talk about this situation where over time you build up the crypto, the stocks, the acres of land or the land parcels, or the real estate, the Airbnb or the rental property. For example, when you go buy a home, maybe in your 30s or maybe in your 40s, oftentimes when you go buy a new home, there's land right next to it. You may say to the builder, hey, I'm building this house. How much would you sell the land next to me for? Because sometimes it may not be a full piece of land that the builder can necessarily build a complete home on. You can purchase it from the builder. You can say, hey, I know that plot of land is, let's say, extra 20,000. Hey, how much are you willing to part with? And the builder say, hey, yeah, I'll throw that in. So you want to all the time add value to your life, even when it's not, the direct thing that you want. If you're buying a house, you always want to be investing in land for other reasons, for actually building your future wealth. You want to always be adding wealth to your asset column. And so those are the things you want to think about: how many liabilities you have overall, such as mortgages, student loans, and other ongoing bills, and how many assets do you have. You want to build this asset column as fast as you can, and then that way you can be in a positive net worth sooner than later. Okay, so this was just my quick video on foundation of wealth. So on this channel, we talk about financial literacy, we talk about credit, we talk about budgeting, we talk about discipline, and in the end, you can achieve all four of these, whether it's crypto wealth, or stock wealth, or land wealth, or even Airbnb wealth. So I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and if you have a comment, please leave a